Morning. Back out in a bit of pasture. It's a new permission, which I got actually by accident. I was sitting in my car looking at the older versions of the OS map online, and the owner came past and I asked whose field it was, and she kindly let me come in here today. So the only issue with it is that the hay is quite thick on the ground, so I don't know whether I'll get the coiling close to the ground. It's about 4 acres. It used to extend through this hedge, looking at the 1841 map, to 6 acres, and there was a pond. There's a pond halfway up behind me here, behind the hedge on this side, which would have been closer to the centre of the field. So it's about 4 acres. I went through the A2A Discovery National Archives search engine and I found a John of this place in 1346. A writ was issued, which is in the close rolls, because he was his goods and land was about to be seized because of collusion with the enemy, which at that time would have been the French. And given how close I am, how proximate I am to the Rother, the River Rother, it's possible there might be a connection there too. I'm not going to give too much away, but the suffix in the place name ending is Hurst, and Hurst pertains to, both in Middle English and Old English, a wooded hill. Right, the first thing is it is a little bit off the ground because of the hay, so going to make things a little bit less, well, the targets that I pick up won't be as deep as they ordinarily would be if this hay was been raked. There is a footpath that runs through this field, which makes it extra interesting. And yeah, there's at the peak of the hill, there's a trig point, which I won't be covering because I don't have permission for the field at the top. This is really the field that I wanted to do because it's a trig point field and the footpath goes through it, but I'll have to determine who owns that. It's interesting in the respect that the farm adjoining it has the same name as one of my antecedents. My family history has the same name as the farm in the 1700s. Alright, first hole of the day. Near 16, 17, but it's picking up in both axes. But I'm going to have to dig a lot more one-way signals today, simply because of the thickness of the hay. Because obviously as the signals are more distant, they're not likely to sound as good as they would do if they were more shallow or if the grass was shorter. So I'll be digging a lot of iffy signals too today, in all probability. 16 max depth. I'll dig this one in its entirety. Pond, incidentally, which was formerly in the nearer to the centre of the field, was behind these bushes, or still is. It's just that it's part of somebody else's, been sold off property now. I don't know when that rain's coming up from France, but we shall see. It's either small or it's deep. Right, it's still in the hole. Let's put the plug across here. That soil's quite nice at least, especially after that rain. Maybe over this side a bit more. Right, it's in there. Probably something like a button, or it might be just a piece of rubbish. There we are, whatever it is. It's a bullet. It's one of those. Alright, hole number 2. 19 to 22. Bear in mind the thickness of the hay, making the signal a bit one way. Right, what's it going to be? Ah, it's a moo tube. We don't often find these around here. Glaxo Veterinary QR serrate. Going back to the Hurst suffix on place names, so there's an appellative Hurst as well in family names, and someone has done a distribution of the names with Hurst in them. This is surnames from the 1881 census, and the map basically shows an area, interestingly, of Kent, Sussex and Surrey as the sort of main concentration, and then another area that runs basically from Warwickshire, somewhere like Coventry, right up to Liverpool. So there's two sort of areas of the name distribution with Hurst in it, which, as I say, in Old English meant wood or wooded hill. And that coincides possibly with the more ancient woods of the Andredswold in the Weald and the woods in the northwest. It's a 20, sounds like a coin, but it's not going to be old, I don't think, if it is, even if it is. So in my hand it's a shotty, so, or something. No, it's not, it's a bottle cap. Right, 1824. You hear that? Listen, -5. It's got a fair bit of iron, but no more than 50% of iron tone. So I'm going to dig it. It might be iron, but I'm not going to take that chance. Right, it was indeed a great big iron bolt of some description, down at about a foot. Right, this was about 16 or 17, and down at about 7 inches there. Get the trowel out for this one. Might be a button, something like that. See if it's still there. Alright, where's it gone? Unless it's something small, say 16 or 17. That is deep if it's a small item, which the old Vanquish 540 does manage to pick up. Oh, there we go. It's a button down at probably about 8 inches, 8 or 9 inches. Say that's Georgian or Victorian button. Right, you've got a 14 in here, 50% depth. I've got other bits rusting in the hole too, so I don't know what to make of this. This bit's non-ferrous. There's iron in the hole as well, possibly. Got the pinpointer. Oh, there it is, it's a ring pull. It's a ring pull. Right, this was at 14, just over a third of the way up the non-ferrous scale, and in fact I think I can see it. Oh, I've got a hammered, I think. It's a very worn one. Might be just a snapped coin. It's too thin for that though. Don't know. It's a tin. Certainly not torn off. Well, I don't know what to make of that. I think that's bronze coming through there, but we'll clean it up. Right, well, hopefully we'll get some sort of idea later on when I've cleaned it. Right, another coin-like sound. What would it be? 20 feet from that. I think it's a snapped coin. I think it's a snapped bronze coin, like a Jeton or something. Or it could even be a button, but I just can't see enough on it, unfortunately. But nice coin-like, 19 to 23. Full depth too. Might be a Georgian halfpenny. Sadly, it's just a piece of aluminium. Another of these veterinary tubes. Shake well before using. Alright, well, this was a 16, for goodness sake. What is that? That's some modern piece of junk. End of some sort of tube. Cool, on to the next. Very pingy 20. Which is halfway up this non-ferrous, incidentally, on the Vanquish. Not sure how deep it is. Maybe it's just small. Oh, it's just a. This was 19 or 20, so. Right, great piece of a plough or something. Unfortunately, so I'll have to stay in situ for now. Right, 21, it wasn't deep, so it must be small. It's in this clod here. Ah, is that it? What on earth is that? Interesting thing. Right, this is 28 to 30, it's down at about 9 inches. It's a coin by the looks of it. But I think that's a George VI. Yeah, it certainly looks like a George VI. George VI penny. Alright, this is an 18. So far down at about 6 inches, 8 inches, 7 inches. What we got? A mangled piece of copper sheet. Alright, 18. Somewhere here. Oh, just a bit of copper with holes drilled in it. A strip of 19, and it was shallow. I got another halfpenny. It's going to be a George VI. There's the water. One moment, have a look. I think that's a George. 1900s, in other words. Yeah, George VI, I can see him. Or is that George V or VI or Edward VII? 1900s anyway. In the same rough area, bits of Victorian pottery and brick. And I've got another coin-like signal in the hole. 19. But I think it's not going to be on this occasion. It might be some other piece of building detritus. Right, amongst all that Victorian pottery and so on, have this. I don't know what that is. I believe, going through the records for this place on the A2A Discovery Archives, National Archives, sorry, I found a reference to a wheelwright living here in the early 1800s. Right, this was 22, quite close to the footpath. I don't know if you can see it, but I believe it's come out of the hole, which is about 7 inches deep. I thought it was in there. Ah, there it is. That is a coin. It looks like a veritable farthing to me, being copper and about that size, so probably a Georgian farthing. See if we can see anything at all. Yeah, it's pretty knackered. It's pretty gone, unfortunately. But that's always a good sign. It means there might be other coins. This one was, I don't know, 9-10 inches, quite deep. Really hard to pinpoint. I'm not sure if it's iron or something else because it's 32 on scale, 3/4 the way up the non-ferrous, in other words. I can see it. You see it there? It's like another milled coin. What have we got? We got a Victoria this time. We're doing well on the George VI. That's a George V though, that one, I think. Penny again, so probably wartime or interwar. Right, this is 20 on the scale, in other words halfway up. I can see what it is. It's a bullet. It's a bullet, 303 bullet from the war, probably. Well, I had a 20 here, and I can see it, can't you? We are in a field with a footpath, of course, so I did anticipate finding a few coins, but which one's this? It's quite thin, very thin. Thinner halfpenny. All the coppers today. Just spoken to the owner and his wife, who came out and I showed them what I'd found. Right, it's completely toasted, but I'd say it's probably a Victoria. $30, that's deep. Right. See a bit of green in the sidewall there, down at about 9 or 10 inches. Coin. Another one. Another halfpenny. Could be a George, could be a Victoria. See if we can see something. I can't really make out a thing, unfortunately. Georgian or Victoria. Turning into a field of pre-decimals. This is a 22, this isn't one. It's something bright red. Oh, it's another veterinary tube. What is this? Just had a 19 or a 20, which is evidently quite small. Here somewhere. Oh, is that a button? No, it's a button. Button! That's where I found the other button. Yeah, there. Right, seems to be a field of predominantly pre-decimal coins. There's that broken in half, what looks like a coin, a very thin. It may be a Jetton, but we won't know until I've cleaned it. So basically we've got coins spanning 1700s, 1800s and 1900s. The few other items I'm going to post up. and it might warrant a return trip. Just depends. When you find Georgian coppers, it can indicate there might be a hammered somewhere in this field, and I have got an invite to make a return trip, fortunately. So I'm going to post up the bits and pieces, including the rubbish, so that you get a kind of handle on the ratio of coins to rubbish in this field. See you later. Right, one more hole. It was an 18. See, it's down there about 7-8 inches, maybe 8 inches. Don't know if you can see that. My trowel is there. Oh, it's a coin. It's another coin. It's a coin with a hole in it though. No, it's not. It's a button. It's a tomback. Right, hi folks. It is finally raining now, unfortunately. 6 moo tubes across the top, or veterinary ointments of various descriptions. Tubes for animals, let's say. A piece of plumbing, bits of tin, a bottle lid, a ring pull, 2 eyelets. Now here are the 3 buttons that I found. 4 acres was the plot. That's a rather nice tomback button. It's complete for once, but it doesn't have the shank, sadly. It's a Victorian or Georgian, say 17 or 1800s button. I can't see any decoration on the other side. And another, so 3 buttons. 3 bits of iron, a bolt, a nail and something else which I don't know what is. Then got 3 bullets in the corner. This, I thought, being copper alloy, it might be something with some age to it, but when you look in the core of the bullet, as with this one, same with this one, you'll see lead with a copper jacket. It's just a very mangled, there we are, copper bullet. So the coins, I had 7.5 coins in total, 21 other bits. Start with the left hand ones. These are all George VI, 2 George VI pennies there. That's not George VI halfpenny. Patina's quite good. I can get the dates off those, I think, if I really try. Then these 2 halfpennies. Was it those 2? Sorry, Victorian, I believe. I can't, unfortunately, they're so toasted, I really can't make them out. Then these 2 here, this is clearly a broken halfpenny of some description. I had thought it was a hammered at first because it was so thin, but given it's the same diameter as the other, there you are, halfpenny, which is, I can see George III on that. I'm expecting it to be a George III. It might be, because it's so thin, an earlier halfpenny from possibly the late 1600s, but I think it's unlikely. It's just snapped in half, unfortunately. Bit of Victorian pottery. Typical Urunkel pottery. And finally a farthing. Unfortunately that's also toasted completely, but I'd say that's probably Georgian too. So we've got a mixture of things from 1700s onwards in that field. I do have permission to return, and I'm hoping when the conditions are more suitable, like if the grass is shorter, for example, or the hay is removed, then I might be able to get in a bit closer to the ground. Thanks for watching, and as I say, please subscribe if you want to see my latest videos come up when you click on your YouTube app.